Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. Today, in this particular part of this ongoing series, we're going to be pouring the steps and the lower sidewalk around the water main shutoff. We already poured in the previous part to this episode, the upper landing and the back of the manufactured home. Today, this is actually the next day after the patio pour. We're pouring the steps. In the previous video, we used a front discharge concrete truck, and now we're getting a rear discharge. And because I used them, concurrently these last 2 days, the two different types of trucks, I really got a feel of how much better the front discharge truck is, especially out here in this terrain. For one thing, the chutes can get really heavy when you're on a hillside and they're loaded with concrete because they want to pull you over when you're trying to pull them a different direction. But with the front discharge trucks, the operator of the truck is the driver, and he can swing the chute any direction he wants, and that's all hydraulics. So you're not fighting the chute, and then you got an extra guy on the ground laying it down. My brother showed up on the previous episode to help us pour the larger area. Today he's taking a break, as you can see there. This particular mix is a 3,000 psi big rock mixed with some pea gravel. So it's about a 5.5 sack, and the sacks are 94 pounds per cubic yard of sand and gravel. So this has 5.5 94 pounds bags every yard. So we have a cold joint on that first pour right there at the top step, but we continued the dowels into that retaining coming out into the steps. We epoxied all those in. We used steel on that. Everything else, the dowels have steel with epoxy. All the other reinforcement is just fiberglass 3/8 rods. Because we had a cold joint on that top step, we're going to edge the first landing or the first step. We'll put an edge against that because there's going to be movement because it is a cold joint. The reason those step 2x6s run off is because I didn't really want to cut them because I have wasted material. I just left them full length, that way I can reuse them when I do the foundation pour for the garage and workshop. And that's another reason why I oiled everything really good, just to preserve the wood. I get multiple uses out of it. Here's the funny trial going on this. After we strip it, the first thing we do is we run a wood hand float along the face, bring up some cream, and then we can run our cove tool, which is the bottom radius of the step, and then we run the nose tool, which is the top radius of the step. And between those two tools, you have a completely smooth step face and a nice rounded edge, top and bottom. These steps are going to get stamped also. If you watched the previous video, you'll know what stamp we used, which was the Belgium slate seamless texture with a clear liquid release. So it's going to be a single color we're doing here. It's not going to be a two-tone other than You know how it patinas out after some time. S&S Materials brought this out of Bullhead, Arizona. Really good, finished really nice. Seemed like a really good mix.
This is old school though, but the guy that's singing's huge. Him and his son travel around. They have their own.
I'm going to be putting some step lights on this also. I'm going to go with some solar lights and just screw them into the concrete on a later date. I waited about 2 weeks before I came back out here, attached the solar lights, put the sealer on. And these steps are facing south, so the solar lights are going to get plenty of sun. That piece of 1x4 that you see on leaning against the siding that we poured against, that'll slip right on out. There's no nails fastening it in there in any way. So once the concrete cures out, gets hard, we can slide that 1x out. There's the lid I was talking about in the previous video about the water shutoff valve being in there. And I was trying to get a nicer nicer cap on that, but it's all I could locate in this particular area. As we stamp it, we lay one mat down on the flat part of the step. Then the vertical mat sits on top of that, and then you can slap it against the face without scratching the lower one because it's sitting on top of the mat. Now, if you just try to hang it down and randomly hit it, you'll scratch up the bottom step every time. That's the last of the retaining wall that's exposed. So I think I'll either paint it, or I might just do like I might mix me up some mortar and get a little dye and try to match this color of the concrete and slap it on there and stamp it so it looks like a continuation of what I got going on already. And here's the final touch. You can see the aggregate, the big rock, the small rock, all integrated together in there. Now we're going to put our names in the sides. David, Timmy, and Tyler go right in the end of that. Also known as TNT Dynamite. You notice there's no cuts coming down the step face, a continuation of that line that I already saw cut in the previous video. Well, here it is now. I'm just going to cut it up here. This is a battery operated. It's from Milwaukee. It's a 9-inch diameter blade on there. And I got a diamond blade in it. You can put a carborundum, which is great for cutting steel. Works well for concrete block brick. Nice tool to have. You can already see the color change because one side is a different load than the other, and you can kind of see it right here at that cold joint off the corner of the house. It's just because of the aging process. It's curing out a little differently, and the direction it's facing. One side's getting more sun than the other, so there's going to be a little variation for maybe a couple months. That's about it, and then everything will be all the same. That's the way integral concrete color works. That cut I put down the middle of the steps, it may not even crack on that, but it looks nice. There's the sealer I'm using. Got it locally from Arizona sealer. Really thick, so I had to dilute it. We had 2 gallons of acetone to that 5-gallon pail, and we used every bit of it sealing this job. So that's 7 gallons. This is the first coat here. We're going to be doing 2 coats on everything. And then we'll put a step light on each step face all the way down. So we need 4 step lights. And the way the ones I got, they cast the light out in both directions, so they'll be fastened in the middle and they'll shoot light out in both directions off of the center. And I had enough sealer to even do the sides. Mostly I just did the sides because it'll help protect the concrete. So this particular soil out here has a lot of alkali or something in it. It'll actually bleach up through the concrete and it'll destroy the surface. And this sealer will prevent that. Plus the base I put under it. Here's the solar lights I was talking about. The nice thing about it is I drilled it right on the saw cut, so if I ever wanted to change these lights or just take them off, you would never know that there was a hole there. I guess the batteries in these things have to be changed periodically from according to the directions. About maybe they should last 2 years for sure, but you may get a lot longer out of them. But every 2 years there's a couple little batteries in there that can be changed if need be. That little cap there, maybe I'll paint that, you know, the color of the trailer or something, because then it'll all kind of tie in. That really had a nice texture on it. Blends in with the background. Now these steps will eventually lead down to the pond, the swimming pond. That'll be fed by the water feature and rock slide down the hill. I'm going to attach a patio cover right to that eave and come out almost to the outside edge of that patio. And almost probably full length too. That's the beauty of going with that 6-inch concrete. I could fasten hold downs anywhere I want for the post for a patio cover, and it'll hold it really well. Now we're going to take a little flight towards the river. We're not going to make it quite to the river. The river's about a mile that direction. We're going to stop out here about a half mile. And we're going to get a close-up on the ancient petroglyph that's in the ground, and it's really only visible from the air. Fortunately, we have this drone so we can really get a good image. Here's the ground level. You can't see what it is or what's going on, but as you go up, you got like a person there. It looks like a person. This other object looks, totally alien. I'm not sure what that is, but it's different than the other picture there. And it's been there a long time, and it's still there. A little distorted, possibly, but one image is definitely different than the other. This was off of an ancient lake at one time, right off the cliff edge. So that was deep water right there. Great fishing hole, probably. Might even be a spear in the middle of them, or some kind of another object in the middle. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.